Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. As you can see, this is still not my usual layout. I'm operating from my phone. It's a little bit more trickier than operating from my desktop at home, but I'm still going to make sure I try and put out a good product for you. Welcome to another edition of The Road to Wisdom. I'm your host, Danny Graham, and I basically am here down in Myrtle Beach enjoying my vacation, but I still felt the need to give y'all some good word and try and give you a perspective of what I'm talking about today. Today's topic, as you saw in the thumbnail, is do you heed warnings? And a lot of times the thumbnail said bad things happen when you don't heed warnings. And warning is something that we all get from life, time to time in life. Some of us choose to heed those warnings and it saves our lives. Some of us choose to ignore those warnings and it causes us great distress, great issues and problems. And sometimes, in some situations, it even can cost you your life. I'm going to give you a definition of warning. And warning is a statement or event that indicates a possible or impending danger, a problem, or other unpleasant situation. We say it to you one more time. A statement, the warning definition, is a statement or event that indicates a possible or impending danger, problem, or other unpleasant situation. So when you get those warnings, like you remember that television show like Danger, Danger, Will Robinson, Danger, Danger. I used to watch that when I was a little boy, and the robot was warning the little boy that there was danger. So he would always announce it real loud so the boy could prepare himself or either avoid whatever situation that he was potentially going in that could cause him any kind of issues or problems. Yeah, that same situation here in life. Sometimes it's not as blaring as that robot, but a lot of times people can warn you, or you can see certain things, you can see red flags, or you can see, I like to use this metaphor, you can read the tea leaves and see that something just ain't right, something ain't going right. So a lot of times, let's make sure we heed these warnings that we see from other people or that little voice inside of us is saying, this ain't right. We might want to do something else or go a different direction. So just make sure we kind of heed our warnings. Get this camera positioning just right. Maybe it's better with. Trying to see if it's better with or without the light. Without the light. Okay, I'm gonna use the light. All right, I want to read from you from the book of Hebrews, the second chapter, the first through the third verse, and it reads as follows. Hebrews, the second chapter, the first through the third verse, and it reads as follows. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by the angels was steadfast, and every transgression, disobedience, receive a just recompense of reward. Read it one more time. Hebrews, the second chapter, the first and the third verse reads, therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by the angels was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience receive a just recompense of reward. I want to break that down to you because you're like, what does that mean? Let me see. The first part I'm going to break down for you is, hey, what's up? Good morning, Tony Brown. I am on. Got two people watching. Make sure y'all share it, like this, and share it. Therefore, we ought to give more earnest heart to things that we have heard. Actually refers to the New Testament, the message of the cross. Talking about the message of the cross, we ought to give more earnest to the things that is saying in the New Testament. Least at any time we should let them slip. In the Greek text, it carries the ideas of a ring slipping from a finger. Regrettably, the church presently has lost the message of the cross slip, and as a result, the church hardly knows where it's been, where it is, or where it's going. Now we see so many of these super mega churches and super churches that are just getting this large congregation of people, but the leadership in there isn't sound. The doctrine that they're teaching isn't sound. The churches are going astray. They're being led down a road that they think is right and correct. Then when you come to find out, the leaders in these churches, in some of these churches, not all the churches, but in some of these churches, aren't even right themselves. Those leaders have found a way to um, to maximize their so-called blessings in the form of delivering these gigantic $1 million houses. They drive these Mercedes Benz. They drive these exotic cars. They go to these exotic um, locations for vacation. I even heard the singer um, Marvin Sapp. He was talking about on a video about President-elect Donald Trump, and that he was saying that it would be beneficial for Trump to come in office because he lives a different. He's in a different tax bracket. What does a tax bracket got to do with? Yeah, we know that Donald Trump is going to, for some of his political things he support, I guess, less tax for people with a higher tax bracket. But what does that got to do with spirituality? What does that got to do? Why he had to say it in the church? Because a lot of people in the church aren't as fortunate financially as some of these big pastors that we see in these mega churches, some of these big singers that come there and perform. And to say that, I felt a certain kind of way because you need to heed the warning. Because there's a warning, there's a scripture in the Bible that the rich man has a camel has a better chance going through the eye of a needle than a rich man making it into heaven. And of course, I broke it down to you what the eye of the needle stands for. A lot of these people are saying these blessings through all this money and stuff that God is blessing them. And in some instances, God is blessing them. But in some instances, He is testing them. And in some instances, they're not strong in their spirit and they're not strong in their doctrine. And they're just letting that money and all these worldly things just really distort the true meaning of the Bible. And they're not heeding the warning. They're not reading the scriptures and heeding the warning. You have to read these scriptures and you have to ask for understanding, because a lot of these scriptures will give you, all these scriptures will give you, especially in the book of Psalms and Proverbs, the key to life. It will give you the roadmap to life. I want to read something that I read about Psalms. I'm currently reading Psalms now. And when I read it, I was like, that is awesome. The book of Psalms. If you haven't read it, you need to go directly to it and read it. I'm going to tell you what the book of Psalms is about. Psalms is a collection of over 150 works of Hebrew poetry. Our English word Psalms comes from the Greek word psalms, which means songs, which is the title of the collection in this segment, in the spiritual, whatever that is, the Greek translation of the Old Testament. The spiritual is the Greek translation of the Old Testament. Given the likely indication of authorship, the Psalms were completed from the time of Moses in the 15th century BC to sometime after the exile in the 6th century BC. The book of Psalms has no single author. King David authored a large number of 150 Psalms, almost half, serving 73 Psalms explicitly bear designations a Psalm of David. Other authors include Asaph and the sons of Korah, Solomon, Moses, Herman, and Ethan. Many other Psalms are anonymous. Now, the main thing that's important about Psalms is that Psalms cover every possible circumstance that life could ever throw at us, which is why there are 150 of them. They cover the ins and outs and the ups and downs of life, touching on physical, financial, emotional, and spiritual needs. Read that one more time, the book of Psalms. Psalms cover every possible circumstance that life could ever throw at us, which is why there are over 150 of them. They cover the ins and outs, and the ups and downs of life, touching on physical, financial, emotional, and spiritual needs. In life, you're going to have those three needs. You're going to have some kind of financial need, emotional need, and a spiritual need. And you need to make sure that your spiritual need is the most important one out of those three that you feel. Spiritual, then your emotional, then your financial. A lot of times some people in life get it reversed. Well, my financial need is greater then my emotional need, and then I worry about my spiritual need. Some people think that they can live their lives the same as much as they want to in this world, in this culture, and then when on their deathbed, the last minute they ask for forgiveness, and then they're gonna slide into heaven. Now there's some people probably gonna do that. I'm not saying here because I'm not God. I don't know how God moves. I don't know how God works. But some people are gonna try that trick, and they may slide in. I'm not gonna sit and say they won't, but some people are gonna try that trick or have that mentality and don't get to do it and then end up in hell. And I sure hope that that's not your game plan. How you gonna make it to heaven? I'm gonna live the way I want to live, do what I want to do, and guess what? The 11th hour, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness. God's gonna forgive me. He may, according to the Bible, you ask for forgiveness, He'll do it. But that is that is really cheating the game, in my opinion. It is cheating the game. Um, there's a saying I want to say to you, one of two sayings or quotes. God is always Himself. Therefore, His promises may be trusted and His warnings may be heeded. Let me say that one more time. God is always Himself. God has never changed from the time of He created heaven and earth. He created the whole universe. God has been the same. He has not changed one iota. Therefore, His promises may be trusted. And if He promised you something, if God promises you're going to do something, it's going to get done. You can go ahead and take that to the bank, stamp it, whatever you want to do, it's going to happen if God told you that He's going to do something for you. Well, He also warns you. His warnings need to be heeded. Danny, I'm going to give you this big house, this big car. You're not going to have to want nothing financially, but you're going to have to make sure that you use that and you do that in service of me. If you don't do that, you're probably going to lose that and maybe a lot more. So if God gives you a warning like that, then you better make sure that you heed that warning. Because if you go into a covenant with God and you don't do what you say, and you don't listen to his instructions, if you choose to bless you with something, then there's going to be a consequence. It's just plain and simple. There will be a consequence. And I'm going to talk about four different things in the Bible, and then one thing that happened here in the world. Pharaoh, Ramses, the stepbrother or cousin or whatever you want to call them. They were cousins of of Moses. Ramses was jealous of Moses because Moses was favored by the Pharaoh. Moses did a lot of good things, a lot of good wars. He was kind when Ramses was cruel, but Moses was a Jew. Um, Ramses' father, the Pharaoh, had declared that all firstborn Jews, males, be killed. But Moses' mother and his sister, they put him in the river in the basket, Miriam, and push him down the river. And Moses' mother, Egyptian mother, found him. I don't think she could have children, if I remember correctly. And she raised him as an Egyptian, but Moses was a Jew. Fast forward to when Moses encounters a burning bush. God told Moses to go back to Egypt and tell the Pharaoh to let his people go. Moses didn't want to do it because Moses felt like he wasn't able to speak clearly enough or wasn't a good representation. But God was with Moses. God gave Moses a staff, and he also sent his brother Aaron with him to speak in his behalf because Aaron was a more eloquent speaker than Moses was. Now, when Moses and Aaron got there, of course, the Pharaoh's like, I'm not letting your people go. This God that you talk about, he's not my God. And if he is, let him show himself. So there's a series of tests. Like I think the first time Moses threw his staff down, the staff turned into a snake. And then uh, Pharaoh's, Ramses, magicians, they had staffs. They turned theirs into snakes as well, cobras to be exact. But Moses' cobra, the staff that he was given him by God, cobra ate both of the other cobras, the staffs of the other two wizards. But still, this didn't change Ramses' mind. He called it an old parlor trick. I'm not letting the people go. So anyway, I'm going to fast forward because Moses kept coming back. He said, look, let my people go. If you let my people go, then something's bad going to happen. Ramses did not heed Moses' warning. So there were several plagues. One plague, I think, there were locusts that came down. There were boils on the animals and the people. Then there was blood. The river turned from water to blood, the Nile. Then there were a bunch of flies and all kind of disease and famine and stuff. Then there were hail that turned to fire once they lay on the ground. And the final thing, Moses told me, look, the next thing that comes out of your mouth, you're gonna make that whatever plague come down and happen. So Ramses' heart was hard. And he said he's gonna kill the firstborn Jews again or something. Moses said, no, that's not what's gonna happen. It's the firstborn Egyptians. Every animal, every man, child, whatever it is, they're gonna die. The destroyer is gonna come. And what they did was they took the lamb blood and they put it over the doors of each Jew house. And that was called the Passover. So when the angel of death would come over and he saw the lamb of blood, the lamb blood, he passed over their house. That's where we get the word and Passover from. And that night, the destroyer, the angel of death, came into Egypt and killed all of the firstborn children of Egypt, including Ramses' son. So this finally convinced Ramses, I'm going to let Moses' people go. And he let Moses' people go. But guess what? His heart got hard again. Now he's seen all these incredible supernatural things that God did. It still did not heed those warnings. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking. But when I saw, when you see something like that today, there's no explanation of it. There's no, and people love to say, well, the science was this, the science was that. No, no. When you see hail fall from the sky and turn to fire, there is no scientific explanation for that. When you see a whole river, the Nile River, go from flowing to clear water to blood, there is no scientific explanation for that. That is supernatural. That is an act of God. Even with common sense, would have heeded that warning. But guess what? Ramses didn't heed that warning, and there was a consequence. So fast forward to he finally let the the Jews out of bondage. Excuse me, Israelites. So Moses is leading them, and they run to the Red Sea. And this time, the Lord made it so Ramses' heart to be hard. I'm going behind them, and I'm going to kill every last one of them. So what happens? A pillar of fire at nighttime will separate Israelites from the Egyptians. Now, if you see that and you following, something in your mind saying something, this ain't this, this is beyond human explanation. There has to be some kind of supernatural working or hand going on in this. Well, guess what? Ramses didn't do it. Did not follow. Did not heed that lesson at all. And guess what happened? As he pushed the attack, once the pillar of fire died down, he saw or should have seen Moses stretch out his staff and split the Red Sea and let the entire Israelites go across unscathed, unharmed. There was no mud. The land was just as dry as the desert, and they walked across it. So Ramses, in his ultimate wisdom, he's gonna send his men across, and guess what? God closes back the Red Sea and drowns the entire Pharaoh's army. All died because they didn't heed the warning. God gave them several warnings. Don't do this. This is gonna happen. If you don't do this, this is gonna happen. If you don't do this, this is gonna happen. But he didn't heed his warning. Guess what happened? Two. Another thing happened in the Bible. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. God told Adam, look, you have anything in this garden that you want, but don't eat off the tree of this tree. Eat off this tree, you will surely die. So when God put Adam to sleep, took a rib and created Eve to be his helpmate, Adam told Eve the same thing. And for I don't know how long They lived, but they did everything. They obeyed God. They were obedient. But one day, Satan, he uses a snake to come and approach Eve. Because, I don't know why he approached Eve. I guess he think Eve maybe was the most acceptable to his temptation. So he approaches Eve and said, look, why aren't you eating off this tree right here? And she said, well, my husband, Adam told me that God told him that we couldn't because the day we do that, we will surely die. And he's like, you're not going to die. Snake, you're not going to die. He just don't want you to know as much as he do. If you eat off this tree right here, you know just as much as he will, and he doesn't want that. So she fell for that trick. She fell for the okie doke. She ate the apple, and boom, guess what? Sin was born. Went back to Adam, and Adam, he also partook of the apple. Wasn't strong enough to say no, wasn't strong enough to resist, just like some men are today. And guess what? Boom, sin. God called and followed him. Hey, where are you at? Where are you at? And he said, who told you were naked? God, we're naked. You can't come see us. We're naked. Who told you we were naked? Did you eat off that tree? I told you not to. Yeah, we did. And guess what? From then on, you will surely die. Men are going to have to work, swell their brow. They have to break the land, the same land that you were made from. You're going to have to farm that land and make crops. And when you die, you're going to go back to dust. Women, you're going to have a very hard time in childbirth. The snake, I'm going to take away your legs, and then you're going to crawl on your belly. You and your whole line, family line, start from now to whatever, will crawl on your belly. You're going to try and bite the female's heel, and she's going to bruise your head. Try and bruise your head to kill you. You're going to be natural born enemies. So, didn't heed God's warning. Eve didn't heed Adam's warning. Adam didn't heed God's warning, and guess what happened? Something bad happened. They were cast out of Garden of Eden, and now see the issue that they went through if you read the Bible. Third thing that someone didn't heed a warning. If we talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, one of my favorite topics, because this world is Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. And in Sodom and Gomorrah, the angels, God sent two angels to Sodom and Gomorrah to get Lot, because Lot was the descendant of Abraham, and God promised Abraham a lot of things. So, when they go to get Lot, the two angels, the people there are so wicked and so evil that they want to have sex and lay with the angels. Did not know they were angels, but Lot was so weak and so crazy. He's like, look, don't bother these men. I'll give you my two daughters. What kind of father is that? Not sure what Lot was thinking, but he was not thinking the correct thing. But anyway, when Lot finally was leaving, the angels told him to leave. They told him, look, when you leave, don't look back here. If you look back, something surely bad is going to happen. Do not look. Just keep it moving, no matter what you hear, no matter what you smell, no matter what you think you hearing and smelling. Don't look back. If you look back, you will surely perish. Well, Lot, his wife, and his two daughters, they're leaving, and then God sends down the thunder. He sends down hail. He sends down balling, flaming hot rock, and he's just destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's wife, they don't tell her name. I don't know her name, but it's not in the Bible. But she looks back, and what happens? She turns into a pillar of salt and is instantly killed because she was disobedient. She did not heed God's warning. She did not heed the warnings of the angels. They told them not to look back, and something bad happened. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Samson. Samson and Delilah. Samson was given great, tremendous strength by God, but had certain restrictions. One of his things was that he could not cut his hair. I think he was a Canaanite. I think I remember those was his ordinance. And he could not, there was an oath that certain Canaanites had. He could not, what Samson had, he could not cut his hair. And he could not touch anything dead. Like a dead body, a dead corpse, he could not touch it. He could not make contact with it. And Samson disobeyed both those things. The first thing he did was he killed his lion. When he killed a lion with his bare hands, he came out the next day through that dead carcass, and there was honey. I don't know how honey got into inside the lion, Samson took the honey. And in fact, he took some back to his parents and gave them that. He was not supposed to do that. But God still was with him. God said, okay, I told you not to do that. I'm still going to be with you. But you need to listen and heed to what I'm going to tell you. There was a woman that Samson fell in love with, fell in lust with, I believe. And the first one he fell in love with, I think he was somewhat one of the high ranking people, um, gave her to another person, betrothed her to another person, and this angered Samson. So he went to a different town, and then he ran to Delilah. Samson's parents did not want Samson to mess with Delilah because she was not the kind of girl, um, same kind of race. They had the same beliefs and thoughts that they have. But Samson was in love with her. He was in lust with her. And he went there anyhow, disobeyed his parents. And of course, you know the story of Delilah. She asked him several times. She was a plant. She was there to trick him. She did not love him. She was there to trick him because she wanted whatever financial gains that she was going to get for tricking him. Because Samson was a thorn in these people's side, and he and whatever they tried to get him, he would always escape because of his tremendous strength. He would kill people. He took the bone of an ass and killed a whole army. He took tied, I think, 300 foxes together and put fire on their tails and destroyed their whole crops and fields. Everything that they tried to get to 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 capture or to make Samson look bad, Samson was always a step ahead. Well, they found his weakness, and his weakness was Delilah. So she asked him several times, if you love me, please, please, please tell me what is the source of your strength. So Samson was like, look, if you tie my hands behind me, I that will take away my strength. So he goes to sleep. She binds his hand while he's sleeping, and they come there. She said, look, I got him. Come on, come get him. So they come over there, get him, wake him up. He's like, what? Snaps him, dispatches of those people real quick. So that right there should have been an indicator. That should have been a warning that I can't trust Delilah because I told her what my weakness was. And time as I went to sleep, she did that very same thing. Well, anyway, this fool did not leave. He did not get up and leave. He did not catch the hint. He did not heed the warning. And she told him again, look, you lied to me. You told me if you do this, if this happens, why don't you tell me the strength? He told her something else. I'm not exactly sure what he told her. He went to sleep, did what she told him that would take away his strength. The guards came back in, woke him up. He got away from them again. That's like a second warning, a second time. Look, Samson, are you not hearing the words that are coming out of Delilah's mouth? She don't love you. Are you not reading the tea leaves? She thinks that you're a fool, and you're acting like a fool. You're acting like a fool. The two things that this woman that you love, profess to love, and you think loves you, you've told her that if she was to do ABC or if someone's to do ABC, it would take away your strength. Every time you go to sleep, you find yourself in that predicament. Is that not an indicator? Is that not a red flag for you to stop being so dumb? But I guess he wasn't. So, finally, according to the Bible, he got tired of her nagging, 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 nagging. And to shut up, he said, look, woman, leave me alone. But if you cut my hair, that will take away my strength. Now I'm just trying to get some sleep. Leave me alone. Okay, I told you the truth. I love you. There, you have it. Are you happy? You satisfied? Yes, yes, I'm so satisfied. I'm happy. Thank you. I knew you loved me. So this fool goes to sleep. She cuts his hair. I don't know why he can't feel her cutting his hair, but she cuts his hair. She calls the guards, and guess what? They wake him up, and he can't do anything because this fool told her his weakness, and now they got him. He succumbs to them. They take him up. They say, now we finally got you, Samson. It took us a long time, but we finally got you, Samson. And now you are our prisoner. So they took him to the middle of the town. You ever see those grinding wheels that you see, like if you ever watch the Conan movie, he's turn that thing by himself. Well, they put Samson on that. They made him do things like the animals, like the oxen. He turned in the middle of town. On top of that, they took something and gouged out both his eyes. So he's blind, he's laughing, he's walking around stumbling. He's the town clown because they clown him big time. This is the mighty Samson that killed all these men with a ass bone, and this is the mighty Samson that did this. Now look at what he's reduced to. He's nothing but a joke. Nothing but a joke. So these fools too, now they didn't heed the warning. Now they knew that if you cut his hair, that was his strength. The strength in his hair. Why these fools let his hair grow back, I still don't understand today. It doesn't say in the Bible. I would have kept him as bald as a baby, but a newborn baby. So, but they didn't. And his hair grew back. Samson prayed to God. He said, God, give me the strength one more time. Forgive me for my transgressions. Forgive me for being such an idiot. But if you give me the strength just one more time, Lord, I will do your will. And God bestowed his strength on Samson. And Samson went to the pillars of the great hall they were in, and he pushed them down and he destroyed them and he killed himself as well. All that could have been prevented if he would have heeded the warning, but he didn't heed God's warning. And it ended up in his death as well as the death of his enemies. Now, this last thing I want to talk about is something that happened. I had a conversation with a loved one. I was talking about tithing. My pastor has said that, and he said several times in the church that if you start tithing and you tithe for 6 months and you tithe like you're supposed to, that in 6 months' time, if you didn't see a significant or a difference in your blessings or your situations, that he and his wife will refund the amount of money that you tithe in those 6 months. Now, according to last April 21st is when I got saved. Before then, I couldn't tell you last time I paid tithing in church, but I started tithing just April, and I have seen a difference, a very good difference. Um, when things seem a little tight, then something always seems to happen. I've been extremely blessed this last couple of weeks um, with certain things that's happening in my life. So I definitely believe 1,000% in tithing. Well, I was talking to an individual yesterday and told them my experience, and that um, I think that they should start tithing and start trying to develop a relationship with God along those lines. Something that's been kind of ongoing. This person pretty much said tithing was sounds like BS. I was like, whoa. Now the old Danny would have been instantly offended, which I was offended, but I'm like, God gives us free. God gives us the freedom to choose Him or not to choose Him. This person, I hope, chooses Him. This person is a loved one, but I came to an epitome yesterday. I know that I have to worry about making sure that my soul is right, and that I'm projecting the correct example. And when I do that, then then I will continue to try to give God's word to other people in this format and then face to face. Um, Usually in the past, I would try to argue back and forth and try to go tit for tat for, well, this is the reason why I do this. And this person would say, well, no, we counter. And we'd be back and forth countering. Yesterday, I didn't argue. I just said, okay, so I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray more. I'm going to pray hard that this individual sees a light. I'm going to pray harder that this individual will develop a relationship with God. I'm going to pray harder that before it's too late, before the warnings that I know she should be heeding of um, doesn't end up in something drastic. Um, Prayer, like I said in all my videos, is the key, is the direct line to Jesus. He listens, and of course, he may not move in the time of the speed that I want him to move in, but his time and his speed and his deliverance is always perfect. So I'm definitely going to start praying more, more diligently for this individual to see the light and to develop a relationship with God because it's awesome. So that's my 2 cents on this particular topic today. Um, do you heed your warnings? Whatever warnings that you're heeding spiritually, emotionally, financially, listen to them. They're there for a reason. They're there to try to help you. So if you can see the red flags, what's up, guy star? Then don't ignore the red flags. Do not ignore the red flags. Go ahead and do what you need to do to try to course correct and try to make sure that you head in the right direction financially, emotionally, and especially spiritually. This is your boy, Danny, and I will be back on Friday. I'll be back in town on Friday. Um, so tune in 7 a.m. I know I'm a little bit late today, but I tell you, working with this phone, I don't like it. So I'm definitely going to make sure that in the future I will pre-record my videos before I leave. But I hope that this gave you some of the insight today, and I hope that it resonated with you, and that you will share this particular video with your friends and family. If this is the first time you ever seen me on this particular platform, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to ask you to please hit the notification bell because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload here in the future. I'm also going to ask you to leave a comment. I read all your comments and I respond back to you in a timely fashion. Also, hit that like, that thumbs up. That helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And last but not least, watch all my videos from the start to the finish because that also too helps me out with my YouTube algorithms. Hope you have a fantastic day. We're down here in good old Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's raining today. And tomorrow we'll be up out of here, but we had a fantastic time. I hope that you have a fantastic time. And as always, y'all take it easy, be safe out there, and God bless you.